Yo guys, what is going on? It's your boy Fxtch here, back with another daily upload, day number 147. And in today's video, we actually have a bit of a discussion. I'm going to be talking about whether or not you guys should switch from controller to keyboard and mouse in Fortnite Chapter 2. Now, of course, we're going to get straight into this, but before we do so, if you go ahead and enjoy this video in any way, shape, or form, the least I ask from you guys is you just drop a like for me. It really does help push out the video. You can also subscribe with all notifications turned on, therefore you never miss an upload just like this. Really does support the channel, would mean the world to me. It's completely free, and you can always unsubscribe later down the line. Okay, so getting straight into this video, may I just point out, it's going to be very much organic. Like, I've literally haven't scripted this, I haven't jotted down any notes for this video. It's just gonna be my personal opinion, my raw thoughts on this topic. Like, I'm literally just gonna be speaking off the top of my head and telling you guys what I honestly think you should do, because yeah, that's what I want this video to be, just more organic. I don't want to like sugarcoat anything. It's just gonna be straight facts. And the way I see it now, actually getting straight into this, is basically that they both have their advantages. So, you know, controller, if you're probably on controller, you're probably watching this video, you probably are on a controller. If you are on a controller, you do realize, like, controller it's harder to build. That is one of the disadvantages. So first of all, let's get them out of the way. Disadvantages, you know, it's harder to build, it can be harder to edit. Of course, you can still edit as fast as a keyboard and mouse player, but it's going to take a lot more time to learn actually how to do that, and it's just not going to be as easy. Now, that could be debatable, because you can really, like, it's in a sense more simple because you're just on a controller, so like there really isn't much to it. Obviously, you can get better controllers with different binds on and bind paddles and such, but it really is like, it's more simple. There's less to it, so it isn't as confusing, but it limits you in a sense, because it generally is slower to build on a controller for the most part. So yeah, as I said, that is one disadvantage, and yeah, it's a huge part of the game. Mechanics, like your building, your editing, it's a very big factor. So yeah, that's one thing you really do need to take into consideration. But to be honest, I do think that is maybe the only disadvantage to controller. And if we're to talk about advantages, you know, you've got really good aim. Now, of course, aim assist is not as it used to be. It's not as OP as it used to be, but it's still, I mean, I think it's still somewhat OP. You know, aim assist is literally like a computer technically aiming for you, because it's a built-in feature. Obviously aiming yourself, but your aim is being assisted by a mechanic within the game, which is, yeah, helping you aim better, which in some cases, and it has been proved, like, it is really OP. But as for controller goes, I really think that is all we have. That's all you guys really have. And now if we're going to go over to keyboard and mouse, you have way more flexibility, way more opportunities. If anything, it may actually be easier to build, because you can split up your building and your movement to two different devices technically. You know, your mouse, your keyboard, you have two different peripherals. Your mouse could be used for building, like you can have side buttons and such, and build and movement with your mouse, and build and such with your mouse, and then you can just use your keyboard for movement, or like vice versa. You could switch that around, maybe have your mouse maybe just for like the movement side. Of course, you can't WASD on a mouse and just move around left, right, forward, backwards and all that, but you have that flexibility. You know, the opportunities are endless with keybinds. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling a bit here, but basically you have more keybinds, like you have more keys, and you can just explore a lot more, which is in some sense easier. That's why a lot of people are faster on keyboard and mouse. You can really improve your mechanics like way outside of what you could do on a controller. And also a side benefit to that is that it's just generally fun. Like, keyboard and mouse is fun. You can switch things up so easily, and it's just more, I don't know if it's like, I could use this word to explain it, but it's more stimulating in a sense. Like, it just keeps you almost more occupied. I don't know, that is like quite a weird way to explain it, but it's more fun, at least in my opinion. I just do generally think you are actually limited on a controller. Like, you can only get so good. Obviously, you can improve like game sense wise, and that is really where it's at for just getting good at the game. But like mechanics wise, like building wise, I don't know, I feel like it's harder to improve as fast as someone could do on a keyboard and mouse. I really do. And that's also why I think you predominantly see keyboard and mouse players as pro players. Obviously, you do have pro controller players, and yeah, I'm fully aware of that, but there isn't as many pro controller players as there is keyboard and mouse controller players. And also, like, the skill gap between them, like keyboard and mouse and controller players, is quite a big skill gap. Obviously, you have like Unknown Army, who can still play like top of the top, but I feel like outside of aim, and I don't know, I say game sense as well, but like, you know, them RNG situations, if you put Mongrel and Unknown Army in a box fight, or I mean, yeah, I guess a box fight, or even actually if you just put them in a realistic game, like a real game, they came across each other in a tournament, I think Mongrel would generally win. I just feel like being on keyboard and mouse would give that edge. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that's how I see it. Basically, what I'm getting at here is I do generally feel like keyboard and mouse is the way. I do feel like you should probably switch. Like, I don't want to actually sway your opinion. I mean, you've probably came to that video for that reason. You want to actually get a more, I don't know, I would say educated opinion, because I mean, it is technically educated. I went from a controller, I was playing controller all the way up to season 7, I think it was season 7 of chapter 1. I started playing Fortnite in season 3, so chapter 1 season 3, and then I played controller like on console, and then even when I switched over to PC. I played controller all the way up to season 7, and yeah, I had that experience. I then had to learn keyboard and mouse from season 7 of like chapter 1 all the way till now, and I'm still playing keyboard and mouse, and it was the best decision I ever made to switch. Like, it really was. Like, I can't stress that enough. It was the best decision I ever made. And of course, at the start, it's demoralizing. You want to actually go back. Like, you just feel like it's bad. Like, you're like, okay, bro, I can't build on keyboard and mouse. Like, I'm just really bad. It's hard to get used to all these binds. It's too complicated. And of course, it will feel like that, but that's a part of learning, right? You just need to keep going and going and going and just push through, and eventually you'll understand. Like, it'll be like a few months, but eventually you'll understand why you switched, and you'll realize the advantages to it. Like, it's hard to actually just sit here and tell you the advantages. It's hard to explain them, because I mean, I'm trying my best here, and what I've said so far, I know it's not very convincing, but it's more one of them. You just want to get stuck in, and it is just more fun. I do feel like it's more fun to play the game on a keyboard and mouse. And maybe you keyboard and mouse players who are watching this video, you might disagree. You may think, you know what, bro, I love going on a controller, I love messing about, but that's because you're messing about. You're not actually going into a tournament, you're not actually playing, and there's a reason for that. It's because you, most likely, if you are a keyboard and mouse player, you're more confident on keyboard and mouse because it gives you that edge. And I don't know if that's because you've always played keyboard and mouse, it could be anything, but you were just more comfortable on that. And honestly, I actually do feel some people are just fit for controller. Like, they're born to play on a controller, because there are people that are just generally, like, no matter how much they try, they can't get good on keyboard and mouse, and controller is just their sweet spot. They're just really good with a controller. But I feel like even then you can just improve. Like, I do generally believe that. Like, I'm a strong believer that you can just practice, makes progress. You can just keep going and going and going, and you will eventually improve. You will eventually get so good. It's just about time and dedication. And also, one thing, like, one of the biggest things I forgot to mention so far, I'm sorry if this video is a bit all over the place, but it would be the future of gaming. Now, of course, like, controller players are trying to support controller players for most games that are coming out, but also I do feel like it's not as wide as a community as keyboard and mouse is. Like, the controller community, like, whether that's console or even just PC, like, I know the console community is so tight, controller community so tight, like, everyone just supports each other, everyone's there for each other. But the keyboard and mouse community overall really does reign over that. Like, there's way more keyboard and mouse players. I feel like for competitive, that's where things are going. Like, the future of gaming and just competitive gaming, it's really just going in that keyboard and mouse direction. I mean, it always has. And obviously controller players have like came in and just, they've proved everyone wrong. They've outperformed top tier pros who play on keyboard and mouse, and I feel like that's where they edge in. But if you think way back to last World Cup, how many like controller players were there? There was literally like, I don't want to actually mess this number up, I think there was like 4. I'm probably very, very wrong. Let me know in the comments, but there was way more keyboard and mouse players. And I know if there was a World Cup now, that would probably be different. I guarantee there'll be a lot more controller players, if anything, but I feel like the gap would still be huge, and there's a reason for that. Now, take it how you want, take it with a grain of salt, but at least think about that for a second. And now, actually, to conclude what I've said in this video, I'm sorry, like I told you, this wasn't scripted. These are just my thoughts on it. I basically, to conclude, yeah, I do think it is worth the switch. Morally, at the end of the day, it is your decision, completely subjective, but I do think it is worth the switch. Now, it's going to take a few months, as I've mentioned, but you'll realize how beneficial it is. Like, I just feel like the wave of gaming is going in that direction of keyboard and mouse, and it's just, I don't know, I just do feel like it's so much better for competitive and just in general playing on a keyboard and mouse. It's gaming, it really is. I know like people think gaming, like, okay, the way I see it is controller is for console. That's how I see it. A console is for controller, right? And then a PC, so if you guys are on a PC, that is keyboard and mouse. It just how things were meant to be, how things were initially designed. It's just a traditional way of doing things. I think that's how it should be. If you're on a PC, you should play keyboard and mouse. Now, of course, you don't have to, you're not limited to it, but I think it's how it should be. I really do. And that's, as I said 1,000 times, the way things are going. But yeah, I'm going to end this video here. I don't want to ramble on anymore. I don't think there's really much to say. Like, if you watch any video on this, it's probably going to be the same. Now, I'm sorry, like, this wasn't as informative. Like, I didn't go into like the exact like specifics of things, but this is just the truth. I guess you guys can just take this how you want and go off that. But I do feel anyone who switched from controller and like were originally playing controller and switched to keyboard and mouse, I can guarantee they'll tell you it's the best thing they've ever done. Like, I really do think that. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like for me, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I hope everyone has an amazing day. It's been your boy Fxtch, and yeah, peace.